Hi, my name is Keslie, spelled Keslie. Yes, we both have uncommon names. Most people wonder how I got my name, and I don't mind sharing because, although it's a little embarrassing, it does help people remember my name easier. So there we were, about a week before I was born, and my parents hadn't picked out a name for me yet. They were watching the Johnny Carson show, and he had George Carlin, the comedian, on as a guest. Well, George Carlin was telling a joke about a woman he knew whose name was this long French wine name that was the name of the wine that her parents were drinking the night she was conceived. My mom and dad began joking around, and my mom said, "Hey, what if we were drinking vodka or Jim Beam? Or what about Coors or Budweiser? Oh, I know. How about Kessler?" which happens to be a type of whiskey. Well, my dad replied with, "Hey, what about Keslie?" combining the names Kessler and whiskey. And well, that was all they had when I was born the following week. So that's the origin of my name. I have my name thanks to George Carlin and whiskey. I've met a few other Kesleys, but we're a rare bunch. So who am I beyond my name? Well, I've been married to my husband, who is a high school band director since 2001. Together, we have 3 daughters who are 12, 13, and 15 years old. We also have 9 animals, 2 dogs, 2 cats, 2 chickens, 2 rats, and a snake, a ball python. Yep, it's a whole menagerie. I also love to play board games and video games, and I love to dance and cook in my spare time. My story with anxiety started in 2010 when we moved from Las Vegas to Monterey Bay, California. It all began one night as I lie in bed with my young daughters while they fell asleep. My heart had started pounding, felt like it was really racing. What's happening, I thought. Then the shaky feeling came. Oh my gosh, now I'm shaking too. I was beginning to feel scared, like really scared. I tried to take a deep breath to calm down, but I could barely breathe. I took my pulse. My heart rate was only slightly elevated. It wasn't really racing. So why did it feel like it was beating out of my chest at 1,000,000 miles an hour? What was happening to me? I began to really worry. Maybe something was wrong. And then it dawned on me that this sounded a lot like how my dad and sister's panic attacks would start. So I called my mom. She confirmed it did indeed sound like a panic attack and suggested that I take any extra muscle relaxers I may have lying around. Side note, I was a chronic pain patient at the time and had muscle relaxers laying around. I took one and the panic attack went away. The shaky, the feelings all went away. By the next time this happened, I was out of muscle relaxers. This time, I had my mom remain on the phone with me to keep me calm until the feelings passed. Over time, I developed a series of techniques to calm myself during these episodes, which I eventually called physiological panic attacks. It was like my body was having the panic attacks without my brain or my awareness. For me, it was a combination of essential oils, grounding techniques, and relaxation techniques that gave me the power to calm the panic attacks on my own. I was able to reduce the number, intensity, and duration of the attacks, and I felt pretty good about how I was handling them. While I could stay out of panic in my mind, the process was really taking its toll on my body. After the attacks, I felt fatigued and drained of energy. I was also tired in my mind from calming myself yet again. I thought I was handling it, and thought I had the attacks under control. I was very wrong. During this time, I also suffered from chronic back and leg pain, as mentioned previously, digestive issues, chronic headaches caused by occipital neuralgia, and insomnia. I was short-tempered, irritable, and was having angry outbursts. Then I learned that all of my symptoms were really just secondary to the anxiety. Sure, I had calmed the panic attacks in frequency and intensity, but I was still miserable. Around this time, I learned about the root cause of anxiety and realized I would have to face some of that perceived threat if I wanted to live a peaceful life. Addressing the root cause is where writing exercises and EFT, or tapping, came into play for me. These processes changed my life. They allowed me to explore some of the intense feelings I was experiencing safely. They helped me process my feelings and got some of those crazy feelings out when I found myself most irritated and on edge. Adding writing exercises and EFT helped me explore the underlying causes of the intense anxiety that had utterly enveloped my life. However, it was not until I found Reiki, hypnotherapy, and trauma training that I realized that I could lower the anxiety to a place where it no longer affects me daily. You see, my anxiety had roots in my childhood. My mother was filled with fear. Fear about everything. Money, safety, fire, health, you name it. And she often told me that she knew she couldn't protect me. Here are a few examples of how she took an average amount of motherly protective energy to the extreme, causing me years of torture. At 3 years old, she taught me how to run my own bath because if she died, I would need to take care of myself. Yes, I had a father. They were married. She didn't think about him or trust him, I guess. But this experience left me fearing for my safety in life. At around 13 years old, my sense of safety about who I was became deeply clouded with fear. I was tall and thin, and many of my friends weren't. This led to friendships being tested and backstabbing taking place. They felt inferior due to something I couldn't control. When this would lead to painful experiences, I would ask my mom why the girls were so mean. She always told me it was because they saw that I was prettier than them, smarter than them, and skinnier than them, better in some way. So they were jealous, and that made them feel bad about themselves, she said. They have to put you down to feel good again. While this may seem helpful to some, what it did was emphasize me. The message I received was who I am hurts people, and that makes them hurt me back. The truth was that when other people compared themselves to me, it made them notice what they don't like about themselves. That's what made them feel bad and want to put me down. I was being me and couldn't control their perceptions or judgments. I became the reason they felt bad about themselves simply being myself. When I was 19, I worked over the summer for my brother who lived about 8 hours away. It was in 1997, before we all had cell phones, so naturally my mom was worried for me to be driving that far by myself. She asked me to call her collect from the major cities I would pass through that were each about 2 hours apart on my trip. When the operator would ask for my name, I would say Keslie and then the name of the town as my last name. These calls would let her know that I was making it safely along the route to my destination. As I write this, it seems like a fairly reasonable request from a mom. The trauma lies in the fact that my mom took this request one step too far and told me that she wanted me to call her along the route so that when I died, she'd be able to narrow down the location of my body to a 2-hour window in my journey. Not only did that make me doubt myself and my safety, but also the world around me. She taught me to live in fear. Fear of myself, fear of others, fear of life. And I had to undo all of that and learn to find safety within and externally. So how did I ever learn to stop living in fear? I healed the root of it through Reiki, hypnotherapy, and inner child healing. Reiki and hypnotherapy were so impactful and life-changing that I became certified instructors for both modalities. I've also done extensive training on trauma recovery, childhood trauma, internal family systems, human development, complex trauma, and the mind-body connection. I now help others uncover and heal their uncomfortable symptoms like anxiety, low self-esteem, indecision, overdoing, anger, rage, self-sabotage, and physical issues. The voices in my head are quiet and supportive. I only find myself irritated or impatient when it's justified, and I can handle my emotions with more grace and ease than ever before. I can sense when I lack self-care and have remedies in place to prevent burnout and exhaustion. I listen to my body and rest when I need to. I have increased my self-esteem and my confidence and have healed much of my codependency issues. Most importantly, I like and love myself more than I ever dreamed possible. I now look back on my time suffering with anxiety and realize how grateful I am for the experience because it brought me back to me. It taught me to be resilient, to heal myself, and to put my healing first. It helped me to find a way of living that serves me, not just those around me. It brought me peace because I faced it. I am now more empowered in my life than ever before because I overcame anxiety, not despite it.
Thank you for tuning in. I would be forever grateful if you hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when more videos drop.